Hello, you guys. Welcome back to Lily Reads. In today's video, we are going to be doing an August wrap-up and talking about all the books that I read in August. But first, today's video is sponsored by FlexiSpot. FlexiSpot is where I got this amazing chair that you guys often see me sitting in. So let's talk about FlexiSpot. Can we discuss my new chair? Can we discuss my new chair? This is my new favorite thing in the world. I have a new chair for me to come and read in, to talk to you guys in, and to just hang out in. I got my laptop right here. I am talking about the FlexiSpot Lotus Recliner. I love this thing. I have been wanting a recliner so bad. And when FlexiSpot sent me this, it was my time. This recliner is so big. It has a 20.9-inch seat, a 9.8 with armrest. This recliner provides ample space, various seating positions. You can twirl around in it. You can recline it. You can sit back. You can use it like a rocking chair. It just goes back and forth. It feels so good. The FlexiSpot Lotus Recliner has a flexible swivel, a rocking mechanism, offers ultimate comfort, helping you release stress and just be relaxed. The thing I love about this chair the most is the reclining. I have just wanted a recliner for so long. Do you see how I just dropped there? I have just wanted a recliner for so long. A place where I can relax, kick my feet up, and this chair is perfect. You can take a nap in this. It just so much relaxation. I absolutely love the color of this chair. I got mine in a beige color. It just fits everything. It's not too loud, but it's also not enough to where it's just like stark and just like almost like medicinal. It's just perfect. It blends in and it just seems so warm and cozy and inviting. I absolutely love it. Another really cool thing about this chair is the storage on it. So you guys know I read a lot of books, and sometimes I don't like my book to be out. A lot of my books get damaged because they just sit on like surfaces and I kick them around. The good thing about this chair has storage, and I can literally just put my book in the side of this chair and then just close it up, and then when I'm ready to read again, I just open it up and take my book out and it's right there. It's my second favorite thing about this chair. So enough about me. If you want to go get this chair, you can hit the link down below. The chair comes in various colors. They have additional features just to your liking. Just go over there and check it out. Click the link below and don't miss out. Use my exclusive code LOTUS30, that is LOTUS 30 in capital, and you get $30 off plus free shipping on this chair. This chair was so easy to put together. I literally did it at night and it was just like that. If you would like this chair, head over to the link and go check it out. I am enjoying it. It is so comfortable. I am big on being comfortable because I be having back issues. It is so good for that. FlexiSpot, thank you so much for providing me with this chair and for sponsoring today's video. And let's get on into the video. Okay, so the first book I want to come and discuss is by Philip Gregory, and that is The Virgin's Lover. This is the third book in the like Tudor series where we're talking about Henry and his descendants and all of these people, Queen Elizabeth. All of these people. There is not much for me to come and explain in this book except for where I am at in the trilogy. Queen Elizabeth has just become queen because her stepsister Mary just died, and so now it is time for Queen Elizabeth to take the throne. And there's this power between religion. What religion is going to be the religion of England? There's this war starting with France. You have Ireland in here somewhere. And the big thing that's going on in this book is that Queen Elizabeth needs to find a husband. She needs to find somebody that is going to sit on the throne with her so she can have this masculine figure on the throne to make people believe in her reign as queen. And that brings in our main character. What is his name? Robert Dudley. He wants to become king of England, and he wants to seduce Elizabeth to make her his wife. That is what is going on. This book is really, really good. I don't think any of the books in this series is going to be as good as the other Boleyn girl, but this was right on par with the other Boleyn girl when it comes to fighting for power, when it comes to who's going to, rise, who's going to fall, all the conspiracy, all the lies, all the gossip. This was more on par with that, and I did enjoy this book, and I did end up giving this book 4 out of 5 stars. The only book that I read I don't have in front of me, I read Matriarch by Tina Knowles, which is a memoir by Beyonce and Solange's mom. And yeah, it's called Matriarch. I did read this book. It took me a while to get through this one. I've been chewing on it for a minute, but I finally was able to finish it in August. And my thoughts on Matriarch was, it was fine. I am very particular about memoirs. It is the reason why, if you watch my channel or look at my Goodreads, I don't read a lot of memoirs throughout the year. I am not a huge fan of memoirs. And the biggest thing is that I am very particular when it comes to memoirs. I think writing a memoir is an art form, and there is a delicate balance that needs to be, had in order to make a memoir good. And so I don't rate memoirs out of a number score because I don't really think it's helpful. It's just whether or not I enjoyed it and I didn't. And here is the thing. I think the best celebrity memoir of all time is Viola Davis' Finding Me. And I don't know if Tina Knowles read Viola Davis' Finding Me before she wrote her memoir, but I wish she did, or at least she took pointers from it, because Viola Davis was able to do something so brilliant in this. Viola Davis could be a person off the street and that memoir would have still been good. It's not necessarily about Viola Davis, the actress. It is not about Viola Davis, the EGOT winner. It is not about Viola Davis, the mother, the wife, the, celebrity. It's not. It's literally about a Black woman who was born into extreme amounts of poverty and how she was able to find out who she was as a person and give her self-value when the entire world told her she had none. That is the story. And so she uses the things that have happened in her career to show that story. There is a thesis, and through that thesis, she is giving you examples in her life to prove that that thesis is true. So therefore, you don't get too hung up on the celebrity. Viola Davis does not give you a lot of salacious detail into her life. She does not give you gossip. She doesn't give you any of that. She tells her life story and how she came to be. And I wish Tina Knowles would have done more of that, because my biggest annoyance in a memoir is when it feels like someone wrote a memoir and they're keeping things to their chest. I would much rather you give me no information, no gossip, no juice, instead of pick and choose the juice and gossip you want to give me, because it just feels like you're hiding stuff. And then it makes me question how valid is the gossip and juice that you gave me. If you are intentionally leaving out certain things that probably would have been in a memoir with someone who was less guarded, it makes me think that the stuff that you did give us has no emotional stakes because you're willing to give it to me. And that's what I felt like was going on with Tina Knowles. The beginning of the memoir is really good. You are getting inside the life of this woman who is living in a post-Jim Crow South era and everything that's going on in this family, this damn near white passing family, but this family that constantly has racism hurled at them and constantly, having situations with the police and nuns and all this stuff that's really, really intriguing. But then Tina Knowles quickly, she gets pregnant and she has Beyonce in 1981. And once Beyonce comes on the scene, you got to talk about Beyonce. If you're going to talk about having Beyonce, you got to talk about having Beyonce. And then Beyonce is a very guarded, private person. So there's only but so much Tina Knowles is allowed to say about Beyonce, so much she's allowed to say about Solange, so much she's willing to say about Matthew Knowles, her marriage to him, and her marriage to Richard Lawson. She's not willing to go there and be vulnerable. I don't personally need that, but if you're going to give us some stuff, you gotta give us all stuff, or it just looks a little weird. So I would rather Tina Knowles have more so focused on her direct, Beyonce and Solange are her direct family, but that part of her life and talking about how she became Tina Knowles and how she became the person that she is, and just leave all the other stuff out to me. None of that matters. No, we don't need to hear about none of the stuff that's going on, and let's just talk about how you were a black woman in post Jim Crow South and how your family made it and how you were able to become a multi-millionaire, how you were able to become a successful business person. But as it stands, I just think it was trying to do too much. And so it was doing a lot of nothing. But I do think the beginning of the story is actually really, really strong, of the memoir is really, really strong and worth the read. I just think after that, once Beyonce is born, if you're not a Beyonce fan, I don't see why, or a Solange fan, what you would get from any of this stuff. So that was my thoughts on that. The next book that I read was Last Couple Standing. So this book is about a group of 8 friends, 4 friends married to 4 friends. So they are four couples are a friend group, and 3 couples in this friend group have gotten a divorce. That leaves 1 couple, and that is the last couple standing. They have made a pact that they are not going to get a divorce. They do not want to get a divorce. They're never going to get a divorce. But something has to change in their marriage to make sure that is. And the change they want to make is they want to start sleeping with other people. So they want to have an open marriage. And this is about this couple embarking on an open marriage. This book just didn't have enough. I ended up giving this book 3 stars. It's enjoyable to get you across the finish line. Enjoyable enough to get you across the finish line. But it just could have more meat on the bones. There's a lot of stuff going on in the book, and we don't spend enough time in it for me to just feel like this is a fully actualized book. It just feels like I'm reading an outline of a book, but you guys know I love a marriage story. I love a messy marriage story. So like, it's always going to appeal to me, but if you're not someone who gravitates towards that type of story, I'm not really sure what you would get from this, but 3 out of 5 stars for me. It was perfectly fine. Now we have a Lily Reads a book club entry, and that is Frequent Flyers by Nue Karwan. So in this book, we are following a girl who is based in New York City, but her family lives in London. And we are following a guy who lives in London, but his family is based in America. Well, they constantly have to take flights. And so one day, our main character, the woman, she is on a flight back to London because her cousin is getting married to her childhood friend who she used to have a fling with. And so she's a little upset about that, and she's, ranting and raving to her mom, and she runs into our guy character because he is headed back to London to go home because he is in America currently doing some business. He is like a doctor, scientist, or something like that. And so they end up having like a cross encounter. It's not very good. They don't like each other, but as the flight goes on, they get to talking to each other and they get to liking each other. And so this causes them to be like, after this flight lands, we should start a little bit of get to know one another. And throughout this book, they constantly find themselves on these flights going back and forth to London and trying to build a relationship. She has stuff going on in her life. He has stuff going on in his life. And this is just about, can they be together? This book is really, really good. I do want to give a disclaimer. The first 70 pages, you gotta stick with it. The first 70 pages, it seemed like the author was trying to find her footing. But once she does, this book is really, really enjoyable. And I enjoy myself. The people in the book club enjoyed themselves. So this was a winner. And I did end up giving this book 4 out of 5 stars. I enjoyed it. The next book that I read, this is the first book I read this month. It is Jason Reynolds' 24 Seconds From Now. This book was so freaking cute, and you should really this is one of those books that just feels good to have on your bookshelf. You can return to it. So in this book, you are following this young boy. He's not that young. He's at the end of his high school years, and he is giving himself a pep talk in the mirror because he is about to have sex with his girlfriend for the first time. And through that pep talk, we go back in time to figure out how this couple got to know each other and what led to these moments of them about to have sex. And it's just really, really cute. It's everything I love about the young adult genre, the Black young adult genre. Just seeing kids just be happy, just seeing Black kids be happy and being media. And I really loved it. And I believe either in the beginning or in the back, the author says Black boys deserve love stories. And I totally agree. I think when it comes to Black male representation in the romance genre, it's honestly despicable. And so a book like this is just so important. I found it so cute. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. Just lovely, just absolutely lovely. I really don't have anything negative to say about it. Maybe if it was just longer, it could have got 5 stars, but it is just so fucking good. And it should be a movie. It should be made into a movie. That's how cute I found this. Let's move on. The next book we have is Last House by Jessica Shattuck. So in this book, we are following a family. We are following a family where the father is an oil lawyer. He is a lawyer for big oil companies. And one day the CIA flies him out to Iran to go do some nasty business in order to guarantee oil for the United States. And so he notices that like something is weird about this, but this is like his moment where he's like too deep in it. He's too deep in it. And this has an effect on his children because the decisions he makes will go on to shape the political views of his kids. So the reason why this book is called Last House, because this CIA agent basically takes him and his wife on a vacation to Last House. And when they're there, the wife is just like, we should buy this house. So they end up buying this house, and this is where they raise their kids during the summer. And the kids just kind of build this like relationship with their father and what he's doing, but also seeing like the real world. They start to understand that they live in like this box of just like whiteness, and there's a real world going on. And so, by the way, this is like, we're back in the 1950s, like it's back in the day. So they get to see the Vietnam War. They get to see Martin Luther King dying. They get to see everything be shaken up, and they start to question where they fall in society and what they have done to make all the things in the world bad and what role their father plays. So that leads to 2 children getting into politics and, you know, radical politics. This book, 3.5. I've decided this book is a 3.5 book. I genuinely believe this book is worth the read, but I will say, in my humble opinion, this book goes off the rails in the end, like bizarrely off the rails, to the point where like it does kind of like, it gets a little sketchy at the end. A lot of undeserved resolution comes at the end that I was just like, that was a choice. But overall, 3.5, and I do think you should get your hands on it. I read that one fully audio. I did not read that physical. So the next book we have is The Safekeep by Yael van der Wooden. In this book, you are following a woman who lives in a house. She used to live in this house with her uncle, her mom, and her 2 brothers. But her mom is now dead, her uncle is away, and her 2 brothers are off living their life. So she is the last person in this house. But she has no issue with that because she sees this house as the house she's going to be in forever. Her whole life is about this house. She's very particular about this house. And most importantly, she's particular about the stuff in the house. She constantly thinks somebody is stealing the stuff in her house. Well, one day, her brother invites her on like a dinner where he wants her to meet his girlfriend. And so she doesn't want to go because her brother always has a girlfriend he wants her to meet. But she goes anyway, and she really doesn't like this girl. She finds this girl to be quite simple. But her brother owns the house for real. The uncle ended up giving the brother the house, but she just lives in it, and she don't plan on giving it back. But he's like, this is my house, and I want my girlfriend to move in for a little bit. Can you allow that? And so this is a story about how this girl has to live with her brother's boyfriend and things happen. That's the most I want to tell you. It seems like a lot, but I really think you should kind of go in this book blind because this book is worth it. This book is worth it. I'm going to give this book 3.75 stars. I enjoyed this book. I didn't love this book. This is one of those books where like, there's like a moment where you're just like, everything starts to make sense. But that doesn't take away from the fact that I wasn't loving it at the beginning. But it is worth it altogether. 3.75. This is a really good read score. And so I also think you should read it because people have liked it more than I have liked it. And I also think the thing that this author chooses to do is quite unique. The way the author chooses to tell this story is quite unique. So this was an enjoyable one for me. By the way, I want to talk. I enjoyed every single book that I read this month. Have you noticed? Not a single one of these books do I genuinely believe is a bad book at all. Even I was kind of hard on Tina Knowles' memoir, but I enjoyed that through and through because you guys know I love Beyonce to death. So that was enjoyable because I got to hear about Beyonce for like pages and pages and pages. So like I enjoyed all of these books. This actually might be my best reading month of the year when it comes to like overall ratings. Anyways, let's move on to the next thing. The biggest book that I read all year is The Will of the Many by James Islington. This book comes out, the sequel to this book comes out in a couple months. You already got people who got arcs and everything, and that's crazy. I probably won't be getting to the sequel anytime soon, even when it comes out. But let me tell you what this book is about. In this book, we're in this fantasy world where everything is operated by will. So everyone has will, and when you get to a certain age, you can like give your will over to people, and that makes everything function. And the most successful, the most powerful people in this fantasy land, they have the most will. They have the most people giving them will. And this fantasy land is set up into like military, religion, and like politics, and all of these three things like run this place. But there's kind of some drama between the three, and that brings in our main character. Our main character works down at the prison, and at the prison you are forced to give away your will like all day, all night. But he might not be up to the purest of things when he leaves the prison. And so this causes for some people to take a look at him and want to use him for their own political gain. So he joins a military academy, and this starts his journey of trying to uncover the secrets of this world. This book is really, really enjoyable. I think if you're someone who loves military, like academy books, like the dark academia, you would love this, because it really does do that, and it's the best part of this book. I think the world building is really good in this book. I think what lost me, that won't put this at 5 stars, I gave this a 4. I don't think the characterization is that good in this book. I think the characters could have been stronger to really nail this one home to me. But I did give this book 4 stars, and I will be reading the sequel at some point. At some point, I'll get to the sequel. I swear it. Now we have 2 books I didn't read for videos. First thing is a short story collection. I read Maggie Shipstead, You Have a Friend in 10A. This was one of my 25 books to read in 2025. I'm on it, you guys. I only have 6 more books to read from my 25 and 2025, so we're on it. But this is a short story collection by Maggie Shipstead, so I'm not going to tell you what every single one of these is about. In one of them, we're at like a dairy farm. At another one, we're following this woman who's been kicked out of Scientology. And another one, we're following this like creative writing group. Like, it's just a bunch of different stories following people. And the thing is, each one of them is perfectly interesting, and it's actually quite impressive that one person wrote all of these stories. I know this is a collection over like some years. She didn't just write this like in 1 year, but this is a collection of short stories over a year, and it's impressive that one person wrote all this. And I genuinely believe all of them could be their own standalone story. The problem is, so when it comes to short stories, I feel like when you read them, you believe that there's a promise made to you that no one actually made to you. I think when it comes to short stories, we as readers always believe that there should be some type of like aha moment at the end where like everything clicks together. Like, that's the point of a short story, to read a book and be like gagged at the end. And so this book, none of the short stories in this collection do that. There is never a moment in any of the short stories where you're like, whoa, that was profound. And so it leaves the stories feeling empty. And that's why I feel all of them should just be their own novel. Because like, if these books were, if the stories were more fleshed out, them not having this big like whoa moment would feel better, because just like, oh, it's the friends we made along the way. But getting these short stories and they really don't amount to much in the end just makes it feel incomplete. So I will give this 3 stars. It's enjoyable, it really, really is, but it's not the best short story collection you will ever read, and you will leave every story feeling a little empty. I don't know if that makes sense, but yeah, it was worth the read though. The last book that I read, I am not going to tell you much about this book. I just think you should read this book. It is called The Very Nice Box. In this book, you are following a woman who lost all of her family in a car crash, and she works at like this IKEA place. It's kind of like, it's IKEA, except they just won't call it IKEA in the book. And one day she gets a new boss at work and they strike up a friendship. That's what this book is about. And I think you should leave it there because this book took me for a ride. I'm giving it 4 stars. This is the only book that in a long time that has gone from like getting 2 stars. Then when it was all over, I'm like 4 stars. Like, you did it. I've never heard anyone talk about this book. And they should, because I think a lot of people would enjoy this book. I was shocked how much I enjoyed this book. 4 out of 5 stars. And that is the end of this one. That is the end of my reviews. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one.